All right, Suns fans, here we are on the precipice of Game 6, one of the most important games in Phoenix Suns history. Once again, they're down 3-2 in an NBA Finals with an opportunity to push it to a Game 7. They've yet to do that. They didn't do it in 1976. They didn't do it in 1993. Here we are, the day before Game 6, hoping that we can make it to Game 7. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Suns Jam Session podcast. I'm joined, as per usual, by my good friend Matthew. Here we are, Matthew, precipice of Game 6. How you doing?
Doing good. A lot better today. How are you feeling today? I mean, I have a lot of hope left because the series is not over. So I'm actually feeling not too bad. Still not going to watch the game. I'm going to listen to it from Al McCoy to start the game, but I'm in a better zone today.
That's a good strategy because I really feel like listening to it on ESPN just frustrates me. It makes me not feel good inside. And I think that might be a solid strategy. I wish I didn't have DirecTV and it would sync up a little bit better. But that being said, yeah, I'm in a good space. And I think that that's where a lot of Phoenix Suns fans are trying to navigate how they're feeling, how to approach this. To many, many Suns fans, this is a foreign feeling. Matthew, this is your first time truly remembering an NBA Finals and the stress that goes with being so utterly close to an NBA championship. So it's interesting how we all kind of navigate it our own way. We approach it mentally. I don't like to talk to people about it. I've been weird, you know.
Nope.
People are coming up and be like, so you want to talk about Game 5? I'm like, just go listen to my podcast. I put all my energy out there. Can we talk about anything? I'm like, oh, the weather, the clouds, they're being clouds. Like, I'll do anything not to talk about the Suns right now.
No, I'm the same exact way. Anybody that walks into the break room, like, nope, not having it. Sit down at my desk. Anybody that says anything Suns, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. What are you talking about? What game? I'm not even talking about it. So just like the players themselves, you know, focus on the next game.
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, so that's what we're here to do on the Suns Jam Session podcast, is to finally kind of reconvene and have conversations about the Suns as we prepare for Game 6. So everybody who's decided to join us live while watching YouTube or Twitch, we thank you. Smash that thumbs up button while you're here. You can become an elite Jamster by clicking the join button or following the link in the description below. You can donate via the super chat if you like. We can use it for more beer money or for in case we need to see a psychiatrist after this series. It really helps with what's the name of the doctor in The Sopranos? Dr. Malfi.
I don't remember her name. Is it Malfi? I have no idea, dude.
I'm pretty sure they're Dr. Malfi. So you can subscribe or send us money via the super chat so we can pay to see Dr. Malfi. Subscribe, rate, and review on the Bright Side of the Sun Podcast Network. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll read it right here on the pod. Without further ado, I think it's time to pop a beer. It's one thing I haven't been doing. I've only been drinking while I'm on the pod, because if I didn't, or if I did outside of this podcast, I would be called an alcoholic. Because
it'd be an issue. It'd be an issue, man.
Makes me drink. So, cheers, Suns fans. Matthew, I assume you're just Invisaligning it.
A water. I gotta go to the gym.
There you go.
Get the bag.
Pop. There you go. Pop if you got them. Let's talk about Game 6, baby. Plenty of different emotions from Suns fans across the board. You have Code Playa 26 in the chat. He says, sorry, guys, but I'm sad and I'm scared. You know, there's other people who are confident. There's other people who are, kind of just ready for this game to start. They're excited, as well they should be. And we're going on the road, a place where the Milwaukee Bucks have played very, very well at home this postseason, only losing one game. I see some people in the chat are saying that potentially Scott Foster could be a referee in this game. You know, just give us all of the odds to go against. How are you feeling? How are you mentally as you prepare yourself as a fan for this game?
I'm honestly the biggest thing I'm trying to do is like look the other way. You know, anytime like the Bucks were putting up a shot last game, look the other way because you knew it was going to go in, especially in that third quarter. I'm just trying to avoid things right now, and it is scary. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be frustrated and mad. Whatever you want to do to be a fan out there, you know, let it go. Because honestly, whatever you need to do to get through the day till this game is played, that's it. And if you want to watch the game on mute, and if it will help you through it, then go ahead and do that because I just don't know this feeling. And when you're going into the series, when you're up 2-0 and you know, we think we're going to win it. And why not? I mean, the Suns team has been playing really great and you thought we had this series and it's exceptional. I think for us to think that a little bit, but I never had this feeling. And I think winning the title now, if we were to win it in 7, it's a better feeling now that I know that when we were down, how bad it felt. It helps you kind of like, it'll help me enjoy it even more if they can pull this off to be like, wow, we freaking came back and won this series. So I'm looking forward to that feeling, even though this feeling right now is just, I don't know, it's trash cans inside, dude. It's dumpsters. It's just trash inside of my stomach all day long.
Yeah, it's no, you're right. No,
that's all I feel like. I feel like trash.
Yeah, you feel like trash. Yeah, it's a tough feeling to navigate. And I think back to 2001, and I made this comparison on Twitter the other day, and I know that Trevor Booth from Bright Side of the Sun, he wrote a little piece about it as well. I remember 2001 Diamondbacks World Series, and you want to talk about gut wrenching, okay? Now, granted, everyone knows I'm a Dodgers fan, but that was my senior year of high school, and that's what we did that year. Like parties, every game, we were watching, very engaged fan base, and seeing that Diamondbacks team go up 2-0 and then go to New York and lose 3 in a row. Now, granted, it's different because it's not 2-2, 1-1-1 in the series format, but it was 2-3-2. Going to New York in the way that they lost those games, having Young Kim blow the game twice. I mean, it was truly and utterly gut-wrenching to the point of like manic depression. And I think the only thing the difference is in baseball, it was just game after game after game. There's no 3 days in between where you get to sit and mull and think and you know, generate anxiety, things of that nature. But I went to game 2 with my mom. I went to game 6, which was a party. I was 19 years old, and the Diamondbacks just waxed them. And then we went to game 7, and everybody knows what happens in game 7. So I think that knowing that really it instills confidence in me because it can be done. We've seen it be done. Teams that are down 3-2 in the NBA Finals have a better chance of coming back and winning than teams that are down 2-1 in a series. And knowing that, seeing how close these games have been, I still have confidence in this Suns team. And even if they lose, man, this season has been amazing. It's been such a fun trip. It's been fantastic coming on here after every game with the Jamsters, with the solar panel guys during the playoff run. But, you know, just you and I, every game after it, they've been really entertaining to watch. And I look forward to seeing how they respond when they are truly pushed up against a wall like they are going into game 6. It's going to be crazy in Milwaukee. You're going to have the Deer District outside, which has no impact on the game, but ESPN will show it 30 freaking times and shove it down your throat. But it's going to be a raucous crowd. And I really think that this team has the capacity, has the coaching, and has the talent to overcome everything that's going to be thrown against them, whether it is just the Bucks, just the crowd, or if it's Scott Foster as well. I don't care. Like, I'm not complaining about the refs no matter what. I think that we've become the fan base that complains about the refs too much. Am I wrong?
I guess. Yeah. I mean, I don't for sure.
I know you don't.
Except for the one
kudos to you because you typically never bitch about the refs, and it's such an easy thing to do in any sport, especially basketball, because they're so heavily involved. But I think that we've really, as a fan base, and this again is looking at it from one point of view, is we've become a fan base that is typically, you know, not too engaged with referees and things of that nature, but somehow, some way, that's all we talk about. Like, I'm seeing photos of Devin Booker when Drew Holiday's taking the ball from him, like the pinky's on the arm. They're like, these refs fucking suck. How'd they miss that? It's like, it's a pinky on the arm is a pretty damn clean steal, dude. Like, it was a steal. This is basketball. So,
and that wasn't the ref's fault either. And I think Booker even knows. You can see on his face after the game. He's like, "Why did I go so deep into the paint to get that shot up?"
Face during the play, he's like, "What the fuck did I do?"
Yeah. And a lot of these games too, these last 3 losses, all the mistakes they've made, all the quarters where they've just kind of not even. It's not like they've given up, but just the play they had in the second quarter last game. It's like, how do you fix that for next game to where it doesn't happen again? I mean, they've had these instances where Chris Paul pretty much he threw the game in game 4. Or well, I'm sorry, game 3. Was it game 3, game 4? I think it was game 4.
Game 3 is where we got blown out by 20. Game 4 is when he had the turnover at the end.
Yeah, so the way he played that game, then he bounced back, had a pretty decent game. Still, I don't think it's the level he should have played at, of course, to get us that win. Towards the end, hit some big threes, but he absolutely needs to go to the next level, to the next game. So I think we've learned as much as we can from these losses the Suns players have to go into the next game, to go into game 7, to know what they have to do to rebound in those certain situations, because there's a lot of situations out there where the Suns definitely should have just regrouped, should have been the better team to come out of a timeout, call a timeout, 2 shots in the second quarter to get back in the game for the Bucks, timeout, do something different, learn from those mistakes. I really think they have. And to go back to the Diamondbacks thing, I'm a Yankees fan, John, right? So I love those. I love those. That was the craziest thing ever when they actually hit those, when they came back and Jeter hit that home run in I think it was game 5. But then, if the Bucks were to win this series, it's nice because it would just be Giannis. It's only positive, of course. But then it's also great for the Suns to win this series, to beat Giannis the way he's came back and the way he has played in the series like an MVP, to be like, we beat probably maybe the best player in the league at that time besides Jokic, and the way Embiid was playing, those centers. Like, we had to go through that guy, and it'd be that much more satisfying if the Suns can pull this off.
Yeah, if they pull this off, I highly doubt that you'll have any argument outside of Los Angeles in which the Suns won a championship against injured teams along the way. Because seeing the way that Giannis and this team has performed in the NBA Finals, if the Suns can overcome that, win 2 games to close out the series and bring home the Larry O'Brien trophy, all of that becomes a moot point. And we knew as Suns fans, even if we swept them, that was a moot point because we just want a goddamn championship. But you're right. I think that, the way that this team has responded time and time again this season is something that we should always remember, and we got to keep in the back of our minds. And the talent is there, and you have to credit the Bucks, man. They're a damn good team, and we both have been saying it the entire series. We said it right at the beginning. It's like, listen, man, 2-0 is nice, but you got to win 4 because this team's damn talented. And when you have Giannis putting up 32 and 13 on 61% shooting, like, that's legit, man. And all you got to do is put a couple good guys around him and see if it works out, And I think that it'll be really important. Some of those defensive matchups we mentioned a little bit on the last podcast, but Espo was saying put Mikal on Drew Holiday. I believe that. I really do. I think that could be a solid answer for this team. I know that Drew Holiday has a hard time with some point guards. He doesn't have the lateral quickness necessary to stop the likes of LaMelo or James Harden or some of those quick guys. But I don't really feel like Drew Holiday's super quick. You know what I mean? I think that, with the length of Mikal Bridges, outside of them switching Mikal off of Drew, I really think that could be a successful matchup. What do you think?
I think so too. And he's almost like the way he's playing this series is like a smaller Luka, where he's just using his body to get where he wants in the court. Not quick at all. Yeah. But all of a sudden he's there. He's there next to the rim. He's backing some guy down. He's wide open for 3. This is the player that they wanted, of course, coming into the series. They got him. Giannis was hurt. You didn't know what you're going to get. Well, you got the MVP back. You got these guys that are performing like they should have been all playoffs, all season long, and they got to the finals somehow without Drew Holiday even playing this certain way. But the shots they are making, Middleton is just a dream when it comes to shooting what he is shooting right now in the playoffs or in the finals for the Bucks. But those guys, they're tough shots, and I don't want to say like, hey, they're not going to make those next game. They might. They might. It's how the Suns respond to that. You know what I mean? I think the third quarter they did a lot better job. Second quarter they didn't, but they got that defense to where the hands were in the face. And whether or not they make it or not, you have to live with it and then perform on the other end. That was the thing, right? Like last game was the Suns would get the stop, but then couldn't answer really on the next possession or two, because that's what you had to do against this team. I mean, every little possession is very, very fragile for the Suns right now, because getting the defensive rebounds are very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, anytime they have the ball in the offensive end, they have to execute. And that's the one thing they just weren't doing, unless Booker was just going off and hitting those ridiculous shots.
Well, and they did execute it finally in the fourth quarter. But like you said, I mean, at that time, so much of the team is spent because you have to spend so much time on the boards and so much effort trying to get those 50-50 balls, which the Suns just didn't have the capacity to get on with a regular basis, not only in game 5, but kind of throughout the series. Those 50-50 balls, a lot of them have gone the Bucks' way. But you know what? That's why it's a series. And typically these things start to even themselves out. And I think that Chris Middleton's shooting, because again, he's somebody who is very streaky. And we knew it coming in. He was going to have a couple really good games, a couple subpar games. And, if he gets kind of an average game where we get him to, anywhere between 15 and 22 points, I really feel like that's a win for the Suns, because that means he's not going through those microwave sessions where he's just hitting everything while Giannis can take a few plays off, stand in the corner, waiting for him to shoot, crash the boards just in case. So, again, it's going to be a challenge that we have to face. But I think that, mentally, I'm finally at that point where, like, bring it on. Like, let's do this thing. I wish it was today. I really do. But I really think that given everything that's up against him, we're really going to learn about Devin Booker. And I think that a lot of people, and again, I've really stayed off of social media for the most part. Yeah, it's too much infighting. And you wrote a piece for Brightside, right? Tell me a little bit about that piece.
Well, I mean, every artist doesn't really want to review the true meaning behind every lyric, right? But it was basically
we want it.
How to handle yourselves. It's not like, hey, everyone calm down, but it's just like, if someone's frustrated and they're handling it by just saying Suns suck, they're going to lose the series. If they're a fan, that's the way they're going to handle it. Some people just can't handle it. So they're going to say the Suns suck and they're going to lose a series. And that's fine, because these fans are going to regroup basically. And the best way, I mean, I feel like everyone's really stayed off of Twitter. I went there today a little bit and it didn't seem so negative. It seemed very, very positive. Well, I usually don't follow a lot of people that really talk a lot of crap, I feel like, but it just seemed normal. And whatever the fans have to do to get that frustration out, just let it out. And it's nothing to really dog on these players. Yeah, we hate the Bucks fans, whatever they do in the Deer District, but that's just what they do, man. We're all the same, right? We're all the same kind of fan bases. We're all trying to cheer on our teams in the same. I mean, we beat people up, but besides that, we're actually just the same as the Milwaukee Bucks fans. So, I mean, I'm not trying to preach anything that's peace, but I'm just saying that there's just better ways to handle this. But any way you can handle it right now, just let the frustration out. Just go right for it. Go right ahead.
Well, that's the interesting thing is, no matter what happens, Thursday night, this season's over for everybody. Like, the NBA season's over come Thursday night. Whether there's a game 7 or not, no matter what, it's over. And as we've referenced here throughout all of our different podcasts about the 7 seconds or less era, about the last 10 years that have just been shitty, about the 93 teams, about the 94, 95 teams that lost to the Rockets. Like, we always go back and look at how we handled ourselves emotionally through those processes. I remember when Mario Elie hit the shot in 1995, I threw my remote and broke it. Like, I remember that. And given the accessibility to communication now and social media, a lot of people can put their feelings out there really rapidly. And it's just going to be interesting as we get further and further away from this moment to look back and see maybe a little, do a little self-reflection. Like, how did I handle that? How did I handle the Suns finally not only being in the playoffs? For a lot of people, it's their first time ever with the Suns in the playoffs while they have a Twitter account. But not only how did I handle the Suns being in the playoffs, but how did I handle their success? And then how did I handle those moments of failure? And it's just interesting to be self-reflective and look back and, good, bad, or indifferent, it is what it is. And I think that's kind of what your article was mentioning, it is what it is. Handle yourself the way that you feel appropriate to handle yourself. And I'm going to handle myself the way that I feel appropriate. And, I have a podcast, so I get to talk a little bit more than some people. And I think that everybody just needs to lay off of Devin Booker for, what he did in the last game. A lot of people are frustrated with his last minute decision. This is this guy's first time ever in the playoffs, in a situation where he already has 40 points for his team, doing everything he can to carry it on the back. and some people want to run him out of town because he made one bad decision. It's just like, come on, guys. Like, who are we sometimes? Stuff like that frustrates me because it's like, again, in the grand scheme of things, it's the Chris Paul argument. You know, everybody who's dogging Chris Paul and thinking he's shaving points and doing all this bullshit, you know, which is complete and utter. It is those two words, bull and shit, you know? Yeah. But it's like, it's the same argument. It's like, we're not here without Chris Paul. We're not here if he didn't go ape shit in game 6 against the Clippers. We're not here if he didn't close out the Nuggets in game 4. I mean, so yeah, these guys are human. They're going to struggle, and we can't. It's the same argument we hear all season long when, like, if Mikal Bridges has like 3 bad games in a row statistically, people want to trade him. And it's like, listen, unless your expectation is every player scores 20 points or more every game, like, people are going to have off games. Like, that's just how it goes. It's not NBA 2K. So it's, you know, I just recommend taking a step back, be self-reflective, and take a look at your social media. Go through your posts. Like, if you're a Twitter hound, if you're listening to this or you're watching this and you're a Twitter hound, somebody who's always like just tapping them keys on your iPhone or whatnot, which is an Android for Matthew.
No, I got my iPhone today.
You got your iPhone? Hold it up. Prove it. Prove it to the Jamsters.
Oh, it's back there, man.
Yeah.
It's actually not activated, but you'll see.
Okay. Oh, chat. Sweet. The group chat's about to be blue.
My little blue message. How exciting is that?
I can't wait.
The Chris Paul thing. I mean, if he sucks in game 4, then he does. And it's nothing to take away from what he's done to the Suns team. He's my favorite point guard of all time for the Suns. I absolutely love this guy. I don't want him to go anywhere. But if they have a bad game, yes, it sucks. They blew it. You can critique them in that way because they know for sure that they blew it in their own mind. So it's not like it's hate on themselves. You know, even in the article, I said it's just basketball hate. We always go back to that. What Bill Simmons says. It's just sports basketball hate. Yeah, sports hate. Sorry. But he didn't have a good game. The last game, he should probably have played better in the second quarter when Booker was out. And that's why Booker has to score 40, because when he goes to the bench for half the second quarter, the team cannot handle itself. So and how lucky are we to have that in our superstar, Devin Booker, to be a guy that absolutely can take on any kind of situation right now that we know of that exists in basketball. And he can be the best player that we know he can be. He's going to show up in these situations, and next game, maybe he passes it more. Who knows? But I don't care, because if he's going to shoot it, he's going to make most of those shots, except for the last one where he screwed up just a little bit. But I love the non-timeout. Just run down there. He was feeling it. I think he's just like, I got this. And he messed up, of course, by just going too far. But I trusted him in that moment. And I trust him. I trust everybody on that floor. Maybe they can trust each other a little bit more. But they were so close to winning that game, and we'll see. I just know this team's not going to get blown out next game. I know it's going to be a close game or a blowout on their end because they're going to show up. And that's what we can count on with this team, dude. So, and it sucks because we can't enjoy the moment, right? You always say, oh, I wish I would have joined the moment, but you can't. These situations are very stressful. And when you look back at it, be like, oh, I wish I enjoyed it more. No, because it sucks. This whole thing sucks. Losing sucks. So if we come out and win this game, we're going to feel a lot better. But losing those last 3 games, it does suck. It's hard to enjoy the moment when your team's losing.
Well, and again, the journey on how we got here is why a lot of Suns fans feel the way they do. If we were entering a game 6 down 3-2, and like we won the first game, they won the second, then they won the third, then we won the fourth, and they won if it was a different journey, there'd be different momentum. But because it's 3 in a row, that's why so many people are just kind of up in arms and frustrated and scared, and the season's over and all that. Iverson Vlogs in the chat, one of our loyal listeners, he says, do you think Book needs to play most of the game, like 46 minutes or what? I mean, this is elimination time. So if you need him to do that,
2 minutes in the third, right at the end, just whenever you have kind of like a little bit of stability on the game to where you can actually trust these guys a little bit. Take him out for a couple minutes. I think he'll be happy to play all 48, right? He's not a guy to complain.
No, he isn't. And what's interesting is the turnaround for that last game. Game 7's 2 days after game 6, after every other game outside of game 1 and 2 being 3 days apart. So I think that's interesting that the NBA chose to do that. And I think it's for the NBA draft, those reasons. But yeah, he absolutely has to play as many minutes as you need him to play. And he's willing to play him. He's a 24, 25. Is he 24 or 25? I always forget, but he's right there.
He's 25 or 24. Yes. It doesn't matter. He's super young.
I think he's 25 in October. He's an October kid.
Okay.
So he turns 25, I think, in October. And yeah, he's super young and he'll do anything for this team. And you've seen that. You've seen his heart throughout the series and what he's willing to do and how he's willing to take this team and put them on the back. And they need to get help elsewhere. one thing that I really want the Suns to focus on. So, Monty, if you're listening, Paul, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, if you guys are just kicking it in the hotel room in Milwaukee and you happen to come across the Suns Jam Session podcast, first, do us a favor, subscribe, hit the like button,
donate,
please, especially you guys. But Pat Connaughton, this guy's averaging 11 points a game, and he's doing it on 50% shooting from three. And how many times have we watched this series and said, don't leave the corner threes? Like, you have Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, whoever it is who's on Pat Connaughton. When Giannis starts going, I get it. They're trying to build some semblance of a wall. But at the same time, they're leaving wide open shooters for him for Giannis to hit. And Connaughton's been benefiting off that. You take this guy out in his 11 points, man. You look at some of the games in which the Suns won early in this series. If you go back to, all the way back to July 6th, game 1, Pat Connaughton had 8 points. You go to game 2, and what was that? God, that was only 2 days later. Game 2, another performance by Pat Connaughton. He had 14 points, but we held other guys in check. So we really need to, I feel, focus on him.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to DA, and DA is another guy probably, hey, play the 46 minutes. Yeah, thanks to Max One, $5 trying to do 100.
Hey,
thanks.
We'll take it, man.
Yeah.
I need it for Dr. Malfi.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. But if it's DA's the last chance for someone to go into the hole and try to score, then leave it be. Because honestly, anybody helping is not going to help. Either they're going to foul, they're just going to get in the way, or, it's going to be ugly. I've never seen a guy come help defense in the key and, just help out the situation and strip the ball. Really, it seldom happens. But Connaughton's just hitting the big shots. That's something he didn't do in the first 2 games, and I don't even know if he did it really the rest of the playoffs. He is coming in and he's hitting those big shots, and no one's really on him. They're wide open. We talked about last podcast, catch it, get set. He's already set, ready to get in perfect passes to him. All he has to do is launch it like in practice, because those are easy shots for him. I know the Suns are getting some good looks too, but it's impossible to really say, like, to ask them to be like, okay, you can't help with Giannis. You can't help with a driving Drew Holiday. Stay on your guy. It's impossible, I think, in the NBA right now, because that's all we're trying to focus on, especially the Suns, try to get those rebounds and maybe try to leave those guys a little bit open from three and see if they can make it. But they're making them. So maybe they go the other way, and maybe they hound them a little bit more on the 3-point line. That way they're uncomfortable going into like halftime, into the end of the game, to where they're not knocking down these big shots. But I don't know, man. It's a difficult task, right? When you have Giannis.
Absolutely it is. And a couple Jamsters in the chat brought this up. You can't let him rebound either. Pat Connaughton and Blaze Megatron says, I come for the Suns talk, but I stay for the mispronunciation. I can't say mispronunciation of Connaughton. Hey, I hear it on local radio, and they say Connaughton. So anything that we're saying.
Are we saying it wrong?
I don't know. I'm sure we are. We say everything. But yeah, #2 as well. But a couple people said, like, you can't let him rebound. And he's averaging 5.4 rebounds a game coming off the bench. Like, you cannot let that happen. And again, that goes to keeping a body on the guy. If you're crashing down and he doesn't dish it out, you're so busy looking at Giannis, you're not boxing this guy out, and he's coming in and a fat stack of Chris J says that a fat group of Suns bigs is where Connaughton's getting all of his freaking rebounds and, X factor type stuff. And he's a guy who's going to be playing well at home. You can't let that stuff happen, man. You just can't let it happen.
Yeah. And honestly, the bounces that they're getting to off the rim, or even when they're on the ground, they're going the Bucks' way. And I'm not saying there's any excuses for that, but anytime, like, even if we're about to get the rebound, we might foul, we might step on the line, the ball might be jarred loose, and they'll get it back and put it back in. It seemed like that's the last 2 games that's been happening for the Suns, and it's something that you can't really do too much about. And the Suns have to worry about rebounding, but then they also have the offensive rebounding. Maybe they can crash more, but then they have to worry about getting back on defense, because you've seen the Bucks get out and transition so quickly off of just a missed basket by the Suns to where they have to hustle back. So it's a lot to ask to really improve. I think this is, of course, the toughest matchup the Suns have had, the most complete team they played, even with injury to who's out with them? Nobody. Never mind.
No. They're missing Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah, DiVincenzo actually,
who's a solid rotation player and a good defender.
He is, but this team they're just so complete. So there's a lot of things that tie up, but I don't know, man. It's tough task for Monty, man.
Yeah, and it needs to, come to fruition by the way that his team executes whatever game plan they have in place. And, Devin Booker does need to rely on his teammates. And as much as I was saying earlier, don't bash Devin Booker. Be thankful for who he is and what he's done for this franchise.
He's amazing.
He is, and
Yeah.
he has us in NBA finals. Like, you can't do that without D Book. But there's going to be opportunities where they're going to try to fluster him and crash on him. And, I really think that that's the lesson that he will learn from Game 5 was when you have the telestrator up and they circle all the wide open guys and everybody who's on Devin Booker. I think that's going to be burned into the back of his brain, and he's always going to be like, "Hey, there's somebody open. If there's many guys around me, somebody's open." And even if it's not on that first pass and he gets an assist, somewhere somebody's going to be open. And I think that that's another telling statistic in this series is Devin Booker's averaging 3.8 assists. And on the season, he averaged 4.3, but he's 4.6 for his career. So he's a whole assist down essentially. And you come to it, that last play, had he got an assist, somebody could have knocked down the shot. So there's a lot of little things though that the Suns missed in games 4 and 5. That, as Monty Williams said after Game 4, is it's on them. They're adjustments that they can make. It's not the Bucks' lack of or the way that they've been aggressive or something that they forced the Suns into. It's something that the Suns can shore up on their side of the floor and, if executed properly, win the game.
Yeah, and I also wanted to say, just really quick, someone put in the comments, what was it? Oh, man, it's not in a whole lot of comments, but yeah, the whole COVID thing too is kind of strange, right? His brother's out, Giannis's brother. But that would suck though. If Giannis was taken out and Suns win the championship, I would be more than happy. Yes. But that would just suck. That would be an asterisk in a way, just like, why would he have to be out? I want to beat him. I don't want him out. I'm sure he has COVID, but just leave him in. Get it over with.
Yeah, it's interesting that's his brother's in COVID protocols, but they're like hugging and everything. It's like, no, he didn't touch his brother.
Exactly.
I don't know how that
just look the other way, I guess.
Yeah, well, it looked the other way unless it's Chris Paul for some reason. I had a comment in here. Let me see if I can find it. This is great radio, if you will. Mm-hmm. I forget. Oh, here you go. From Chris 2. John, do you feel like a tortured soul? Matthew. So, Matthew, do you feel like a tortured soul?
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, I have to go back to my quarterback from the Dallas Cowboys, Tony Romo, the choke artist of the century. And that's the 2 centuries, whatever. he would always say after every loss in the playoffs, I'm living the dream. I'm a football player making a lot of money and helping people. And how can he be down about that? Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, I don't make as much money as them, but I still live a good life. And the Suns are back in the playoffs. And who knows if this will ever continue to next year. If they win or lose, I mean, I'm trying to live in the moment, but doing the best I can. But it does suck a lot. But I try not to get down on myself, if that's what this is really asking. What about you, John?
No, I'm not a tortured soul. I'm a Suns fan, so I'm a disappointed sports, consumer, if you will. A lot of my teams don't win. So I definitely, if that tortures my soul, like, it's just sports, I guess. And I think that's what I've really kind of come to I love sports. I love the Suns. Obviously I dedicate a lot of time and passion towards this team, but if they lose, I'll have to get up the next day and go to work anyways. It's like, so it doesn't truly affect me. It just affects me emotionally. So I wouldn't say I'm a tortured soul, but I'm definitely emotionally invested. And that's what makes it so hard is, I want to go, when you start throwing the word like soul in there, it's like heaven and hell and all this stuff. It's like, it's pretty deep. I'm definitely emotionally invested, and therefore, if the Suns lose, I'm frustrated and pissed. And like the other night, I needed to throw a cup. Which, by the way, Matthew, remember how I chucked that cup?
Mm-hmm. Did it survive?
It survived. Like it's got some road rash on the bottom there from when I Gronk spiked it in my backyard, but survived like a champ, dude.
Good job, man. Yeah, I remember when you threw that, and then you threw the little dog, and then you threw the big one right through the window. So
yeah, but the big one can take it. But it's like when that stuff happens, I need to throw something. And I was looking around and I found a cup that had water and I just Gronk spiked it. And I just came back in and closed the door and
Well, I saw Duarte. Oh, sorry. Duarte actually threw his phone and broke it. So
yeah, I saw that.
I saw that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's like during these games, like I try to put my phone on the other side of the room. Like I have to really seek it out,
Yeah. Oh yeah, James Smith is a basketball. It is, but come on. In the heat of the moment, It's different.
frustrating.
And I used to hate watching games with my sisters. You got money on this game? The way I used to be so upset. It's like, oh, no, just leave the room. You don't have to stay here and watch me.
No, the worst one is, well, they don't care about you.
They kind of do.
That one. I hate that one.
But they kind of do, right? They care about
if I spend my money.
They need the fans. Yeah, they need us.
You're not on the team.
Exactly.
We lost. Oh, were you playing? Oh, those great comebacks. So I don't know how much longer we're going to last here. I just wanted to kind of get together and do a little pre-jam. Is there anything else that you want to bring up prior to Game 6?
No, I mean, if anything of a prediction or anything, I don't know what's going to happen, or I don't know how to feel really even going into tomorrow. I kind of just want to start the game late. I want to start it right when tip off. I don't want to see anything on the TV. I can't see the Bucks fans. It's very frustrating to see them with a lot of joy. I just want to be by myself. I'm probably going to be right here watching it on my computer and listening to it. So I don't know. I just don't know how to prepare or how to be, dude. What about you?
COD player. My apologies. I threw an instead of COD player 26. That's why I watch by myself. Yeah, me too. I've had a bunch of it's funny because ever since the playoffs started, I've had a bunch of friends who've like, hey, you want to watch the game and this and that, and like, listen, if you can't handle me, you wouldn't be able to handle me on a regular season game. Like, you think you can handle me during a playoff game? Like, I am walking around, I'm pacing, I'm constantly checking my computer, looking at the stats. Like, I always have the stat page up, and I'm just constantly looking at the stats, because I'm just like, I have to have that nervous energy. Blaze Megatron Jamstar predictions. I'm predicting a win. I mean, this baby's going 7. I believe in this team. Absolutely 110%. Like, we win tomorrow. We're on this podcast tomorrow being like, fuck, man, we got a Game 7 ahead of us. And if we don't win, we'll be on here tomorrow after the game being like, shit, there's no Game 7.
And that pod will be 10 minutes.
It'll be a 10-minute podcast.
We always say that until the rant and raven goes, and it goes for an hour. So,
well, that's because it's not just you and me. If it's just you and me, it's just us being like, well, shucks, guys.
We'll be like, yeah, no.
So Summer League.
Hope to God they win.
Yeah, hope to God they win. That's a good one there. So, that being said, thank you everybody for joining us.
Yeah,
on the Suns Jam Session podcast. I mean, think about this, Jamsters. Think of the ride we've been on this year. To have us going into Game 6 of the NBA Finals, we're in the middle of freaking July, and we're still talking basketball. You know what I mean? Like, this is fantastic. This is awesome. This is so much fun. It's so stressful, and you're not going to enjoy it in the moment, like Matthew said. But you will remember these moments years from now. We will always come back and reference the 2020-2021 NBA season. And just think about who you are during this time frame. Think about how you reacted and how you responded. Think about, like I was saying earlier, go through your Twitter feed. Just see what you've posted. Don't look at everybody else. Go to your page and look at what you've posted. Is it positive or negative? Take a second. Do some self-reflection. That's what I've been doing these past 3 days. And you know what? I tend to think I'm a positive guy. So positive vibes. Let's do this thing. Let's beat those Bucks in Game 6. Bring it back here from Phoenix. Beat them in Game 7. So on that note, what's so funny?
No, I was just thinking, I only tweet really about farts, so I don't know if that's positive or negative. So I don't.
It's funny, which is positive. Funny. If you're bringing
farts
smiles,
will always be funny.
Always,
right?
They're never not funny.
They're always funny, dude.
Ever. If it happens in church, it might be inappropriate, but it's still funny. You're still laughing. And
but then when it starts to stink though, and it's not you, then that's not funny.
Oh, that's true. That's when it no longer becomes funny. That's when it becomes very like you got to throw the mask back on. I like what Michael Farson just said. Let's evoke the ghost of Paul Westphal. Guarantee that win. We're going to go to Milwaukee tomorrow. We're going to win that game. We're going to come back on Thursday, win that game, and everybody's going to say what a great series it was.
And then a parade on Saturday, right?
Yes. And it's only supposed to be like 90-something degrees. It's the weirdest July ever.
Dude, let's do this. Come on, we're just that close. I just have so much doubt in my mind. I'm sorry. I'm just a negative, depressed person. I just can't help it. But that's
what makes us work, Matthew. I'm such a positive guy. I always think about the positivity because the negativity, man, it'll take over, man. You just got to pop the gummies so it doesn't take over, man. So this is a reminder to everybody who's watching. Please subscribe. Hit that like button while you're here. A reminder that you can become an Elite Jamster by clicking the join button or following the link in the description below. And you can enter the code SUNSJAM at any of let me try this again. I'm not as good as enter the code SUNSJAM at checkout for any of your online orders for 15% off shopjustsports.com. Again, that promo code is SUNSJAM. It's a great place to get all your Suns gear, and it comes really quick. Got this hat with the finals logo on the side like 2 days later. So one game at a time. Let's do this, Matthew. I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see all the Jamsters tomorrow as well.
Yeah, let's do it. Go home and love your family.
See you tomorrow, folks. Let's go, Suns.